Hi, welcome again. My name is Dr. Jude Jepu, and in this tutorial we are going to be looking at how to finalize maps that was created in Oasis montaj in ArcGIS, because sometimes Oasis montaj is not really primed to actually do some of these sophisticated GIS processes. So sometimes when you finish your map, you need to export it to an ArcGIS environment to actually add some other data sets that you may need to add. Oasis montaj does not give you that flexibility to make it beautiful as it should be. So today we are going to be looking at how to do that and how to probably go from ground base to the top level, and it's going to be fun. So let's watch and see how these things unfold. And first of all, there are some things that we need to do. We need to quickly go and create a particular map in Oasis montaj. I think probably you must have finished making your map, but we just want to demonstrate how some of these things are done from the ground up. You know, maybe someone watching this video might not know how to do some of these things. So in this case, we want to make sure that the person does it well. So we go to this place, and this is a particular thing that I'm demonstrating here, and this part of Zamfara, we just name it. For example, let's name it for the person that I'm doing this video for, which is Abraham Adelowo, but anybody can still benefit from this particular video when it is shared. So now that we have created our project, we need to add a grid. And the grid we want to add is this part of Zamfara TMI. And the actual request from Abraham Adelowo is that there are several sheets in this particular grid here, and he needs to break them down, process them separately, and name them. I mean, put some locations on them. So the first thing that we're going to do is to let us export this particular grid into in a format that we can use to add it to ArcGIS. And we simply go to map here and click on export, and we are choosing to export it as a GeoTIFF file, and we want the full map. And this is the DPI, the dots per inch. Usually I do 500. It's usually a very, very large file, but the size will compensate for the resolution that you're going to have. So we click on OK here, and we just name it part of Zamfara. So let's save it as part of Zamfara, and once that is done, we will now go to ArcGIS and bring in that particular data file. And there are several things that you may need to do in order to prepare your document very well, but for now, let us just leave it. Let us just follow the normal process, because usually before I start, I have to set up my environment, but doing all those may actually take some time. But let's just do it. Let's go to the current workspace. We need the current workspace to be in this ArcGIS folder. If you've not created any folder here before, you can easily create one by clicking on this button here. So we are adding this to the current workspace, and I'm copying this because I want to add that again to the Scratch workspace, and I click on OK. And if I double click on these layers, I can choose the particular coordinate system that I want it to be, and in this case I want it to be in this WGS zone 32, and I will click on apply. Okay, I can even change this layer name and name it as anything you want, and we'll leave that here like this. So we have set our canvas here to be in WGS84 data for you will see the reason why we have to do this maybe when we progress further. And don't forget to always save. So let's save as, and in this case we are saving it ArcGIS, and let's just call it a tutorial, and let's save. And so we have this map document here saved. So let's go ahead and import that. We have that in this Zamfara, and the data set is this part of Zamfara here that we actually saved. So it's going to load this data set here, so you can see that it has loaded this data set, and we have it in Oasis montaj now. So the other thing we'll do is to actually split all this into their various sheets. To do that, we are going to need to bring in the 1x100 sheet shapefile of Nigeria. In that case, we need to open up this place and go to documents. I'll go to this one. Yeah, yes, we have this. So, and in ArcGIS. So here we have this particular 1x100 sheet in a zip format. So we are going to unzip it. I'm using 7-zip to unzip it. So I will say extract here, and same thing I will do for Nigerian locations. I will send you this particular file. So I'm using 7-zip here. I will say extracted. So we have them extracted. So once we go back to our ArcGIS, we'll see to add data. We are going back to this particular ArcGIS, and we are adding this 1x100,000 shapefile. So we add it here. So you see, let's just see it visible here. We'll choose hollow. Let's choose one here, and we say okay. So we see all these that are lined up here. All these sheets are dividing this, but in order for us to have some intuition about what this means, we need to label it. And in that case, we have to go right click here and go to properties. When you get to properties, sorry, my system is really learning slow, you check on this particular box, label features, and you can label features using different fields. There are several fields here, because let's see, if we look at the attribute table of this particular 1x100, we see that it has lots of information. What is shape, the object ID, the sheet name and number, several information here. So, and how do we want to label it? So let's go back to properties. We need to check this place, label features, and in that case, because we want to use a compound labeling style, we need to use an expression for it. And in that particular expression, I wish to use a Python expression file to do that. So how do I do that? What I want is the sheet name, and I need to use this sheet name, and I will add a new line to it. And this is how we add a new line in Python, and I need to give it the sheet number. So this is how I want to. So let's verify if our script is correct. So our expression is correct, because look at it, will have the name of the sheet and then the sheet number. So let's click on OK, and let's click on apply. So let's make this particular thing a little bit bigger, and let's bold it. In that case, we are having all these sheets here. So we have the Donko number, sheet name is Donko, the sheet number is 74, and all these all through. So the next thing that we are going to do is to kind of break this all apart, and there are several ways to do that, and because we can isolate all this and actually name them. So what we are going to do, there are several ways to do them, and one of the ways is to select by maybe lasso or polygon, but let me use lasso here. If I select this, for example, you see this is highlighted here. I can open up this and go to selection, and if I can say create layer from selected features. And then once you check this thing off here, you see that we have this Donko part created for us. But the thing about this particular thing is it doesn't it stays just within this particular document. As soon as you save your work and go shut down and probably change folders, this particular feature will disappear. So what I usually do is let's remove this, because this is just a temporary file that is created. What I usually do is to right click on this place and say data, export data. And once you do export data, you will check on these selected features only, and then give it a very good name. We have it in this particular place. Now the name we are going to give it will be Donko 74. Yeah, that's the name, so that we can always refer to it, Donko 74. And we click on OK. Now it's asking us, do you want to add the exported data as a map layer? We'll click on yes. Now we have this Donko 74. At any time we can always have it here. So that is Donko 74. So the other thing that we're going to look at is, let us right click on this, because this particular thing has a different coordinate system. Let's look at the properties here, because coordinate systems are very, very important. Let us go to general. Okay, the source. If we look at the coordinate system, I say it's projected coordinate system, and it is in this particular WGS 1984 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere. And let us look at this particular this Zamfara thing that we have here. We will see that the coordinate system is WGS 1984 UTM zone 32. So they are both in different coordinate systems. So first and foremost, we have to make them to align to the same coordinate system. So we have to reproject this particular Donko. Why this is it? Because it covers probably a whole lot of areas. So the web Mercator projection is actually best suited if you want to view it in world maps and all that. Anyway, it's actually another course on it. So when you study coordinate systems and all that, but suffice it to say for now that you need to reproject this Donko 74. And how do you do that? The easiest way is for you to go to Windows and do search here. And before then, let us go here and clear this selection. Let's go to this place and say clear selected features. So we only have Donko here and just this that is here. So what we are going to do is we just click on and say project. In that particular way, it will find whatever we are looking for, but you can still get it in data management tools here. So project. Now it will come up, and the next thing for us to do is, which is the input data set. We want to reproject this Donko 74, and this is the input coordinate system. What is the output feature class? It says Donko 74 project. The name is good enough. So which is the output coordinate system that we need? We need it to be in WGS 84 UTM zone 32 knots, and leave other things at its default state and just click on OK. Now once it finishes, it will tell us that it has finished. So we can actually close this. We can actually close this, and let us make this this way. So if we go on to the properties again, we'll now check on the properties. We'll now go to source. We'll now see that our projected system is WGS 84. So we have it a similar projected system like we have here. So, and the other thing is, if we so wish, you can always cut this thing out from here by using clip, but we are going to do that in Oasis montage. So but we'll be needing this information in order to not this information properties, in order to clip it in Oasis montage. So let's go back to Oasis montage, and yeah, so what we're going to do here in Oasis montage is to go to map tools. Okay, no, go to grid and image, and go to utilities, and we want to window this grid. Now you can do window grid using a polygon file. It's another tutorial if you want to learn how to create polygon files, geographical polygon files and all that. So but now we want to window this grid. So what is the input grid file? Window the grid is just like to clip it to the particular extent that you need. This is our input grid file. What is the output? And the output will be named Donko 74 because that is what we want. We want them in ground units, and we are going to use this information here to actually do the projection. So this is the X mean here, so we just copy this, Ctrl C, go to Oasis montaj and Ctrl V. Let's go back here. This is the X max, Ctrl C, we do that, Ctrl V, and we come here. This is the Y mean, the minimum Y value, Ctrl C, we go here, Ctrl V, and we have the maximum Y max. We do Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and we leave every other thing at its default settings, and we click on OK. So now we only have this Donko 74 area. So let us go ahead and maybe create a quick map, just something not very fancy. This is not the best map that you are going to see, and let's this thing so let's have it this way. It's not the best map. I won't really style it much, and but let's just have it this way. But then you can always do the styling better than what I have done here. So this is just a quick mark that I've created, and let's take this to where it may be better. Click, drag down, click on not arrow, bring this not arrow somewhere around here. Like I said, this tutorial is not about designing maps, but you can actually make these particular maps a lot better than we have it here. So now that we have this map, what we're going to do, we're going to export this map so that we can fix those names in there. Meanwhile, like I said, we can come back to ArcGIS and click on data. We are going to add these Nigerian locations, and we have a bunch of these locations here. So still we can clip these locations to only reflect that which is concerned with Donko 74. How we're going to do that, let's just use a shortcut from here. We'll do clip here, and the input features will be the Nigerian location. The clip features, we are using this Donko 74 projected, and we are naming this as Donko 74. So we just say location Donko, something like this. So we click on OK, and now we just have locations only for Donko. So once we check this off and check this off, we have locations only for Donko, and we can choose to label it if we so wish. So these are the labels for Donko. But meanwhile, we are still working on Oasis montage. So we go back, and what we are going to do here is to export this map. So we click on map and export this map. We are going to export it as a GeoTIFF file again, and like I said, we are maintaining this 500 dots per inch. Of course, it has a very heavy weight in size, but it actually compensates for the resolution. So we click on OK, and we name this Donko. So okay, let's just complete it to be Donko 74, and let us do save. So now it will export it, and we'll go and import it into ArcGIS so that we will place all those names. It's because I'm using the, because sometimes the styling of this Oasis montage map is actually a little bit beautiful and it's unique. Once you see it, you know that it's done in Oasis montage, but you can still do all this in ArcGIS, but it will turn out to be a little bit different. Some designing might still get you where you want. So we'll go to this place and we will import that. Okay, where do we have it? We have this, we Oasis Donko 74, and we add. Okay, so we have Donko 74 as added here. So let's bring this here. So we see all this, that Donko 74 is added. We see the names have been added here. So all we are going to do is just to export this particular map, and there are several stylings that you can still do about this, but we won't be needing that, because if we go to this layout view here, you can actually select a particular layer and a particular view size. But it's like I said, this is just a quick way to introduce us to how these things could be done using Oasis montage and ArcGIS. So what I'm just doing here is just to show you a very simple way of achieving this particular thing. You can set your resolution, the scale of the map here. I'm using 500,000. You see how small it is. I can still change the paper size. So if I choose to display it in A4, portrait, and finish, now we can still choose maybe 500, 1, 2, 3. You see how big. We can still make it smaller, but like I said, that is not the import of whatever we are doing here. So the idea is to make sure that we have this we have this name, and like I said, you can still go to this place, properties. You can make the names a little bit larger. When you go to labels, we can make it 12 and bold it. That is label for the settlements and all that. So we see a lot of them appearing here. So what you're going to do is to go to file and go to export map. So we're going to export this map maybe as a PNG file. We have it in ArcGIS. Okay, we export it as tutorial and leave it in as 500 dpi. We now click on OK. So let's go and see this particular file that we have exported now. So we see it here. So with the names, like I said, you can always style this the way you want. Suffice it to say that when we exported this map, one of the things you can do is to make these particular areas like bolder, you know, when you are creating this map in Oasis montage, so that when it comes here, we will see it very bold, just like all these names have become bold here. So that's a quick way of doing this, and I think that supposedly answers a lot of questions. And like I said, there are several ways you can do it to maintain a lot better resolution than we have here, and this is just a quick way of doing it. So I hope this particular video has been helpful to you, and if you have any question or you don't understand anything, you can reach out to me. Like I said, this is not a very complete tutorial, but wherever you're having some challenges, you can let me know so that I will add some context to it. All right.